Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the very power you thought protected you was the same thing that kept you trapped. That's exactly what happens to Auren. See, she's not your typical fantasy heroine. She's not wielding swords or commanding armies. She's gilded, literally. Her entire body is covered in gold. Not jewelry, not paint. Gold. Midas, yes, that Midas turned her into his prized possession. She's not his queen, not his consort, just his golden cage, on display for everyone to admire and fear. But let me tell you something surprising. Auren has more power in her silence than most warriors do in battle. Because underneath that glittering surface, there's fire. And in glow, that fire finally starts to rise. Now here's what's fascinating. Auren has spent 3 entire books, yes, this is book 4, believing she's safe as long as she stays close to King Midas. Believing his lies. His manipulation. Thinking that being owned is the same thing as being loved. But everything changes when the people around her begin to suffer because of choices she never made. Her friends. Her guards. Innocents who get caught in the crossfire. And this is where things get really interesting. Auren realizes she's not a bystander in her own story. She's the storm. And storms don't ask for permission. Ravina, Slade, Commander Rip, these aren't just side characters, they're sparks. Each one of them challenges Auren's view of herself, especially Rip, whose presence is like steel wrapped in velvet. He's intense, unapologetic, and real in a way Midas never was. There's this moment, and I'm not spoiling anything big, I promise, where Auren is confronted with the reality of her own magic, and you can just feel the fear and wonder clashing inside her. She's been told for so long that her power is dangerous, that it's something to hide. But what if it's the very thing that can set her free? And let's talk about that power for a second. Gilding isn't just pretty, it's deadly. It moves. It protects. It reacts to her emotions. Can you imagine being so connected to your magic that it responds to your heartbeat? But of course, that comes with a price. The more Auren taps into it, the more the kingdom watches her like a threat. She's no longer the decoration in Midas's court, she's the revolution. And trust me, people don't like their gold statues waking up. But here's the emotional punch that hit me the hardest. Auren isn't just fighting external battles. She's at war with herself. Every step forward she takes is haunted by the echo of abuse, by the years of being told she was nothing unless someone powerful claimed her. That's what makes her transformation so powerful. It's not just about reclaiming magic, it's about reclaiming identity. Reclaiming the right to choose who she loves, who she trusts, who she becomes. And Raven Kennedy doesn't sugarcoat that pain. She lets us feel every scar, every betrayal, every moment where Auren stands at the edge and wonders if she's strong enough to leap. Now, if you think this is just another romantic fantasy, think again. Because Glow isn't about falling in love, it's about burning down the lies you were forced to believe. Yes, there's romance. Yes, there's tension that'll make your chest tighten. But at its core, this story is about self-liberation. About realizing that sometimes, the hardest prison to break out of is the one you built in your own mind. What do you think happens when a girl made of gold starts to melt the cage around her? When she looks her captor in the eye and says, "You don't get to own me anymore?" That's the kind of moment that stays with you. It's not just empowering, it's electric. And the political tension? What's thick? The kingdoms are shifting. Alliances are breaking. Secrets are unraveling faster than you can keep track. And Auren, once just a background figure, is suddenly at the heart of it all. The very people who used to ignore her are now either fearing her or trying to control her. That's what makes her journey so gripping. She's not stepping into power for glory, she's doing it because there's no other way to protect the people she cares about. And believe me, she cares deeply. Her loyalty isn't just noble, it's raw. It hurts. It bleeds. You'll find yourself rooting for her not just because she's strong, but because she's real. She questions everything. She makes mistakes. She gets scared, but she keeps going. And in a world that demands perfection from its heroes, Auren dares to be messy, emotional, human. That's what makes her unforgettable. And the title, Glow, isn't just poetic. It's symbolic. This is the book where the shine she once wore as a prison becomes her armor. Her light doesn't come from being gilded by someone else. It comes from within. And the moment she realizes that, it's one of the most powerful emotional shifts I've ever seen in a fantasy series. Because suddenly, it's not about surviving, it's about living. Fully, fiercely, freely. And just when you think things can't escalate any further, Kennedy throws in twists that'll make your jaw drop. I'm talking betrayal that cuts deep, power plays that flip everything upside down, and emotional punches that come out of nowhere. The pacing? The stakes? Sky high. The writing? Sharp and cinematic, like you're watching it all unfold in real time. You don't read Glow, you feel it. In your chest. In your gut. In that part of your brain that craves justice and fire and the sweet, sweet taste of freedom. Now I won't spoil the climax, but I'll say this. By the end of this part of the story, you're going to look at Auren and wonder how you ever saw her as just a girl in a cage. Because now, she's the woman who could burn kingdoms down just by walking through them. And she might just have to. So here's where it all begins to boil over. Auren isn't just stepping into her power anymore, she's wielding it. And with every move she makes, the balance of power across kingdoms begins to shift. The nobles? They're rattled. The enemies? They're watching. And Midas, he's starting to realize that the girl he once gilded into silence might just be the storm that ends him. And you can feel that tension clawing through every page. This isn't about a rebellion, it's about reckoning. But what makes Glow hit even harder is the emotional cost of that rise. Because freedom isn't handed to you with applause and fireworks. It's messy, it's painful, and sometimes it comes with loss. There's a scene, no spoilers I promise, where Auren is forced to choose between vengeance and mercy. And the way Raven Kennedy writes it, you feel every crack in Auren's heart as she weighs what kind of person she wants to be. Not just what the world expects, not what her enemies fear, but what she decides, in that moment, with everything on the line. And Rip, let's talk about him. He's not your usual brooding love interest. He's got scars of his own, and they don't make him weaker, they make him real. The way he sees Auren, not as a symbol, not as a weapon, but as a woman trying to reclaim herself, is rare. There's this unspoken understanding between them that goes beyond words, beyond duty. It's the kind of connection that simmers in silence and explodes when the world pushes too hard. Their relationship doesn't just add romance. It anchors the story in something deeper, something worth fighting for. And it's not just the romance or the magic that keeps you hooked, it's the uncertainty. The way every victory feels like it could turn into a trap. Every moment of peace feels like a setup for heartbreak. You'll find yourself holding your breath, wondering, is this the moment everything changes again? And that's the brilliance of this book. It doesn't let you settle. It keeps you leaning forward, desperate to know what's next. By the time you reach the final chapters, Auren isn't the girl we met in book 1. She's sharper now, braver, but also lonelier. That's something not many stories talk about, that sometimes rising into your power means leaving people behind, letting go of old identities, saying goodbye to parts of yourself that no longer fit. And that quiet grief? It lingers. It gives the story a depth that stays with you long after you've closed the book. What makes Glow so unforgettable isn't just the action or the twists. It's that deep, emotional undercurrent that reminds you, true power doesn't come from being feared or obeyed. It comes from knowing who you are and choosing to be that person, no matter how many times the world tries to break you. Auren didn't choose to be gold, but she chose to glow. And that choice? That's everything. By the end, you'll realize this story isn't just about a girl escaping a gilded cage. It's about burning the whole damn cage down and walking into the light on your own terms. Feel like you're meant for more, but don't know how to get there? You're not alone. Every success story starts with doubt and a spark. The Self-Made Millionaire, Zero to Wealth isn't just a book. It's your roadmap to purpose, confidence, and success, built on real lessons from real millionaires. One reader said, "It didn't feel like a book. It felt like my future talking to me." Inside, you'll find the exact mindset and principles used by the world's most successful people. No fluff, just real, life-changing wisdom. Ready to take the first step? Get it 100% free. Just subscribe and comment book below.